ActionSA President Herman Mashaba says he will be working with former civil servants around the country to take South Africa forward. He was outlining the party's vision and mission ahead of the 2024 general elections. Newzroom Afrika's Ziyanda Ngcobo is there standing by to speak to Mr. Mashaba, but he took it way back, Ziyanda, giving this message where he launched Black Like Me back in 1985.
That's right, Dudia, and we're actually standing in front of the factory where in 1985 Herman Mashaba launched Black Like Me, and he's basically drawn a parallel or juxtaposed the two to say the hope and the dreams that he had back then as a black man, opening a business alongside an Afrikaner white man in a time during apartheid where such did not seem viable, and really bringing that back to the current economic crisis that the country finds itself in. And Mr. Mashaba, you're basically saying that you have a vision. You'll have an inaugural policy conference. What can we expect there? Because what you've outlined now, for now, just seems more like a vision and a dream.
Yeah, well, I think, I'm back here at the factory where in January of 1985, my wife and I and two partners, including a white Afrikaner, we opened a cosmetic business which in just less than 5 years became the leading brand in South Africa. During the dark days of our country's history, at the time, every time you leave you enter or leave any township anywhere in the country, you'll have a state of emergency, you'll have army roadblocks and so forth. It was really very difficult, but we managed. And when 1994 came and I voted for Nelson Mandela, I thought we were going to see an explosion of black entrepreneurs. It hurts me. Just behind you used to be Botswana Development Corporation offices where the officials there were there to assist us with anything, because when I took over this factory in 1985, we had no telephone and other support the measures. They were there to assist us. It hurts me. Look at old people are there. It's the SASSA offices. This used to be a hive of activity for people of Harangua, Mabopane, Hebron, used to actually walk to come to work, because I started with my wife and two partners, and we'll hire one person, second person. In a matter of 18 months, I was already occupying 5 of the 10 factories here, and so forth. So what I'm saying is that the feeling is that we need to reignite the spirit of entrepreneurship, where people must realize that they can do it without government. We need government, obviously, to create an enabling environment so that businesses, particularly SMMEs, must be able to operate and employ our people, create the pride in our people. And that's really what I was bringing forward as the South African dream that we have as ActionSA.
So what policies do you then implement to ensure that, there is this burst of black entrepreneurship? Are you someone, and as ActionSA, a party that, for instance, believes in black economic empowerment, especially since you spoke about how there's been perhaps access to services, but not access to opportunities? That's exactly what you said in your speech.
I think I just want to make it really abundantly clear that I, as Herman Mashaba and ActionSA, and we'll go to our policy conference, the black economic empowerment of the ANC, we are going to get rid of it. We believe in social justice. We recognize what has happened in the past. We are not going to come out with a policy position that only favors politically connected people. We must come out with redress that is going to really deal with the poor, the 12 million South Africans, the 29 million South Africans who are today dependent on social grants to really survive. But we must encourage businesses in South Africa, internationally, to come and invest here in our country.
So in your speech today, it's clearly not just a speech to deal with, your plan for, local government, but now you're moving towards, a national sort of picture. In fact, when you launched the party, you said you'd be campaigning for a seat in Parliament. How exactly will you be getting to that? 2024 is around the corner. Well,
I'm glad to let South Africans know that ActionSA, when we launched in 2020, we only contested in the recent local local government election. We only contested the 6 municipalities. But I'm delighted to let South Africans know that we are now have 9 structures throughout the country. We've got provincial chairpersons. ActionSA is ready to contest national and provincial elections throughout the country. I'm actually so excited. This morning, I had a call with Ngcobo, who is our provincial chairperson in the Northwest. He had invited me 2 weeks ago to attend 7 branches being launched in Phokeng. This morning when I was telling him to apologize that I'm not going to be able to make it because I've got family commitment, he says, Herman, you know what? We are not longer launching 7. We are launching 12 branches in Phokeng. So this gives you an idea. And I'm sure you are aware 2 weeks ago, we contested for the first time in Limpopo, deep down in Limpopo, in Molechi. We emerged as the 3rd biggest political party. We dropped the ANC and EFF support in there. We received just under 10%. We only had 2 months to actually prepare for that by-elections. We've already contested in by-elections in 2 in the Eastern Cape, 2 here in Gauteng, and you'll see us contesting by-elections as part of our 2024 project. And we are confident ActionSA is going to emerge. If not the biggest, will be the 2nd biggest political party in South Africa.
Very quickly, speaking of 2nd biggest political party, I mean, what we've seen at a local government level, especially your relationship with the DA, it continuously remains frayed. As South Africans contend with the idea of a possible coalition government, how do you plan to resolve this?
Well, I think it's really something that's really very worrying because it really appears to us that DA wants to really collapse these municipalities. We are now left with Tshwane, where we have the majority, where we don't need smaller parties. So we wrote, our national chairperson, Michael Burman, wrote to the DA last week, requesting DA that we have an urgent meeting to resolve the Tshwane issues. There's 3 issues that DA needs to resolve with us. Is the tender which was given to Edwin Sodi, Blackhead Consulting in 2019, where people of Amanskral and surrounding areas did not have water. There is an issue of Krato's unsolicited bid. There is an issue of the AG's report. We need to really address those issues. And we requested the DA, we wrote to them and our coalition partners. We've asked them to say, the next meeting we have with them, we are asking you, because we believe in transparency and accountability. We want the media to really be part of the meeting, because we are sick and tired of having meetings with the DA, but when we leave the meeting 5 minutes later, we are fighting as if we come from 2 different meetings. So you as a media, please ask the DA, we're requesting the DA and our coalition partners, let us save Tshwane. We have the numbers, but to avoid a question of misinterpretation of what took place in our meetings. We want our coalition meetings to be held in public, where the media, not to participate, but to really be able to observe for themselves, so that when obviously someone does not really abide and respect the coalition agreement, then we know who it is. As a ActionSA, we are calling on the DA and our coalition partners, let's have our meetings in public in front of the media.
All right, Herman Mashaba is the president of ActionSA, basically saying that they want to be the 2nd biggest official opposition party in the country, I should say. So a lot of work to be done, 2024 around the corner.
Absolutely. Ziyanda, Ngcobo, thank you very much for that update.